Welcome, newcomers and true believers alike. This is the Countdown to Doomsday, an MCU watch along podcast packed to the brim with thrills and chills, twists and turns, and more supervillains than you can shake a famously huge turd at. Oh, it had to be done.
Had to be.
Oh, Drax gives me life in this movie. I'm your
Oh.
host, Jake, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, the Golden Woman, Sammy,
Oh my God.
the Sovereign.
The Sovereign. Wow. I've been called many things on this podcast. That
I just
one
thought they were
is
so
my
fun.
favorite.
Yeah, I thought they were so fun, and I kind of like forgot about them and how silly they were. So I had a lot of fun.
I really enjoyed them. But I really enjoyed going back. Like, I love the Guardians, but when we've
Yeah,
been going back over these movies, like, I'm just because I have to watch them. I can't like I have to pay
yeah,
attention. That I'm like, there's bits that I've missed out. Facial expressions from people that I
yeah.
have like completely overlooked in the past, but yet seen on this rewatch and could not stop laughing. I will get into one of them later, which actually had me decked. I had to pause it for a bit.
Yeah, we've been on a bit of a downer recently because it was like Doctor Strange was like, half of it was
Yeah.
tragic, and it was just not that much comedy. But we had like Captain America: Civil War, Age of Ultron. We've been in
But
the drama.
we have. Now we're in the fun times, the bright times, the James Gunn times. My
Mhm.
goodness, he loves color. So I will do the disclaimer, and then we
Yes.
will crack on open Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Mhm.
So, everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from the episode, please come and join us on the Facebook page. You can join the Nerdy Up North Discord or the comment section where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone come in for us and tell us our opinions are wrong, because we can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of a nerdism.
Yes, Excelsior.
Thank you. So, as always, I do have, as always, because I have the development of this movie, and
Yes.
it is pretty standard. In 2014, when the first Guardians came out, they Disney and the CEO and Bob Iger was like, "Oh, this could be something. We could
Yeah.
make a
Merch,
franchise out of
merch
this."
seller.
Yeah, we can make a franchise out of this. And then they were like, we could do another Avengers. And Kevin Feige was like, yeah, let's do this. So he went to James Gunn, who was actually contractually obliged to actually do it if he was asked. So
Right.
if the first one didn't do well, James Gunn toodles on off.
Yeah,
But if
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
did do well, James Gunn has a contract in place to say he has to come back and do the next one.
But they had
Um,
like an easy out if they didn't want them to do another one. They're like, actually,
Exactly.
we'll let
Yeah,
you
it
just.
kind of worked on both for both parties really.
Yeah.
Because James Gunn adores these movies. So he's back on board, the whole cast back on board, Nicola Perlman's back on board to do the script with James Gunn, and then the release date was mapped out at San Diego Comic-Con for the 28th of July 2017.
Mhm.
So within a month of them saying we're going to do this. James Gunn is on it. He gets his original cast back together. They all like, yep, we're in for this. Um, but he decides that he's going to introduce some new characters.
Yeah.
We meet one in this movie, which is Mantis,
Yep.
but we were also meant to meet Adam Warlock in this movie,
Right. Okay.
and
That
I
makes
will.
sense.
I will explain the reason why Adam Warlock in a bit. But he then, when he looked at the script and looked at the fact that there's going to be Ego, there's going to be Mantis, because Mantis was going to be a continuing character. Like,
Hmm.
Ego was a new character, but he knew he wasn't going to be in it.
Yeah.
Mantis was going to continue with the Guardians,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever capacity that was, she would be with them, and Adam Warlock was going to be the same. But when he looked at it, he just went, it was too busy. There was a
Yeah.
lot going on, and we all have, and we all know Adam Warlock's presence, especially around Infinity War.
Yes, definitely.
And he thought it was too much, and I kind of get it.
I think as well, like the same thing would have happened with Gamora. Like, I think the Russos would have stole his character for Endgame,
Hmm.
and done something, and then he would have been like, well, what have I got left? The pieces.
Yeah, because Adam Warlock's name was mentioned, it really got fans excited for Infinity
Yeah.
War and Endgame because if you've read the Infinity Gauntlet,
Yep.
you know Adam Warlock plays a huge part in that.
Yeah, he's kind of like the sole survivor of like whatever Thanos does to everyone. He's the one who runs away and tells some other Celestials and stuff like that.
Yeah. And that's it. It was a very straightforward production, very easy. There's not a lot that I read where it was like, oh, this was difficult and that was difficult, and everyone was totally on board with wanting to put this movie together.
You can tell the cast has so much fun. Because they're all like you can tell because they're all having fun in like increasingly crazy outfits and
Yeah.
situations. Like usually you can sort of tell when an actor's not enjoying the costume. But these guys all seem like they're having so much fun, even though they've got weird like teeth like prosthetics and like, extra
Makeup.
bits stuck on the head and like weird things.
So much makeup, and I was so tempted to go and have a look at the makeup side of it, and the
Yeah.
costume side of it. But I was like, oh my god, we would be here forever. I
Yeah.
can't start introducing this into the episodes. We already go through enough. Um, but what I do have is because we do have new characters that are introduced in this, and I feel like with the space side of things, it can get a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
So I do have a little breakdown of the people that we do meet in here.
Do it.
Um, so we have Ego, the living planet, who in this
Yes.
movie is Quill's father. And not
Yeah.
really. He was actually introduced in Thor, issue 132 in 1966.
Yeah.
He was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Um, Jack Kirby wanted to explore and he was fascinated with the expansive universe. So
Mhm.
Ego becomes that. He's actually Kree. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, he's Kree. He I don't know if people actually know this, but Ego wasn't a Marvel character. He was actually a Fox. I know he was a Sony character.
Right.
He
What
had to
from
be
like
negotiated.
that's so weird.
Yeah, had to be negotiated to bring him over.
Why would they
Um,
have got why would they have got that? Because of like Fantastic Four
Fantastic
stuff.
Four. Yeah,
Right, okay, okay.
because he kinda is I don't want to say go hands in hand, but has a lot of story with Galactus.
Don't eat me.
Yeah, so he's a living planet named Ego. It's called the Bioverse.
Right.
And every part of his substance, including the atmosphere itself, is alive as much as it's controlled by his consciousness. So we know that because of what we
Yeah.
see in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Um, his his ego can generate vast. I know I can't say this. Oh, I can't really can't.
It's all right.
PS Psionic
Oh,
energies.
psionic. Yeah, yeah.
Psionic, thank
Yeah.
you. Energies that rival the Hungered Galactus at their peak. He can project
Oh.
energy blasts to obliterate starships, read minds, and scan their biological structure, and communicate to sentient beings using telepathy. Um,
Oh.
but yeah, he has a thing with Galactus as well.
That
That
might have been interesting if he had those powers, but it might have been a bit too much for our guardians to deal with, like, on foot type of thing, as they do. But that's pretty scary, like a giant psychic planet.
Yeah. Well, he was actually propelled into the ethos by Galactus at one point.
I just hoofed him away.
Yeah. Whoosh. A character that we don't get to see, but I felt that it was actually necessary to bring him up is because I've mentioned him so many times, is is Peter Quill's real father, who is Jason or
Right.
Jason,
Yes.
Jon. Um he's a Spartax, and he's the Prince of Spartax actually, and he was
Mhm.
only introduced into the Marvel Comics and in Humans Volume 3 Issue 2 in
Right.
2000. Um and when Peter Quill was introduced into Earth 616 continuity, that's when it was revealed that that was his daddy. Um so yeah, I just wanted to give a quick he was then introduced in 2013
Mhm.
into the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Issue 1.0, and was actually reimagined by the writer Brian Michael Bendis, who we
Mhm.
mentioned before is the creator of Miles Morales. And that's like the whole Star Lord thing,
Yeah,
kind
I think I've checked out some in that era,
of. Mhm.
like before this came out, but that's interesting. Because yeah, like in the movies, they sort of put that to bed with this, don't they? It's like, yeah, that
Yeah,
was it, and now I'm not gonna think
we
about
just
fatherhood so much
no,
anymore.
we move away from that.
Yeah.
Marvel hates him, I know that. And then another character that we're introduced to, who I absolutely adore, can't imagine these movies or the Marvel universe not having her as Mantis.
Yeah.
Mantis was actually her first appearance was in Avengers issue 112 in June of 1973.
Wow.
Mantis has been an Avenger. She's been a Guardian of the Galaxy, and she's also been a Bride of Kang.
Never again. Not on screen anyway.
Nope.
I do love Mantis. I'd never heard of her at all or
No.
knew anything about her before this, but it was just one of those instant like, yeah, this character's great and fits, and I'll be happy to see her go on.
Yeah.
She's great in the Christmas thing. Have you seen that?
Oh, yes, it's so
Yeah.
wholesome. It's so lovely.
It's
I
just her
love
and Drax
that.
getting to hang around for like 45 minutes.
I
It's
could
so
watch
good.
them, but I could just watch them two forever. And their
Yeah,
relationship is really cemented
go to
in
the
this.
strip club and everything.
And the last new character I want to mention is Aisha, who is
Mhm.
the Golden Sovereign leader. She's actually been known by other names, which might confuse people because she's Kismet
Right,
or
okay.
Paragon. Paragon is probably the name that people might be most familiar with her. She is what is she? She is I can't remember now. She is kind of like not I don't want to say she's like, but she's very similar to Adam Warlock. They
Yeah,
actually share a pod. Their pods are similar. They are
right.
kind of they're they are interlinked with each other, which is why she creates him at the end of the
Mhm.
movie and why he would have fit in perfectly with the Sovereigns because he is part of, or at least was known to be a part of that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Like
Citadel.
that. The Adam Warlock cocoon is very famous in the comics as well, isn't it?
Mhm. I didn't go into too much about Paragon, but I kind of wish I kind of want to. Um, so sorry if I've got any of that wrong, but I do know
No,
that
it's
she
all
has
right.
something to do with Adam Warlock, which would make sense with.
This the space stuff in Marvel is very complicated. So,
Oh, tell us
and
about
it has
it.
many different eras where like we'll see tonight that like there's some of these Ravagers are from like the old days of like Guardians
Um,
and space stuff.
yeah, one of them being Taserface. um, yeah, sorry. Um,
It's still funny.
so good. Yeah, Taserface. Oh God, I forgot to write it down, but he was oh gosh, he was something else. He was a name back in the day with the
Okay.
original Guardians, but yeah, Taserface. What a guy.
I don't know. But yeah, like there's nothing in this movie that I don't really like, as in like
Mm-mm.
expansions, inclusions, and stuff like that. Um, I was on board for everything. The old Ravagers as well, like that was a better storyline than I remembered. You know, like
Yeah,
that whole mini arc and stuff with like Yondu. I was
I
like,
loved it.
ah, um,
I've just found me note.
yeah,
Taserface is a warrior of the cybernetically enhanced race known as the Stark. The
okay.
Stark are an alien race that found Iron Man technology. Sorry, that found Iron Man technology that had accidentally crashed on their planet, and as a result, they worship Tony Stark as their
Oh
god.
no,
So
oh
that is where
no.
Taserface comes from.
I'm I'm kind of glad that doesn't come up in like
It would have been so
an
funny if at
Infinity
some
War or
point,
something.
but at some point during the movie, Taserface is like, "All hail Tony
Yeah,
Stark!" Just out of
don't tell
nowhere.
Tony he's a god. Don't
Oh
tell him
God, no,
that.
absolutely not.
But yeah, let's get into like the storyline. I mean, this movie goes everywhere, so apologies if any of this stuff we're saying sounds confusing. Just watch the movie and you'll understand. But We called up in Missouri on Earth and see Peter Quill's mommy and daddy who love each other very much.
Peter Quill's mum is English. She's an
Yeah.
English actress, and she's from the In-Betweeners movie.
Oh my God. Right. Okay. And I realized when I was checking on the gold lady, she's from like The Crown. She's like
She's
Princess
Princess
Diana.
Diana.
Yeah.
She's about 7 foot tall. She's giant, but she's beautiful.
I was gonna say I had a crush on the gold lady when I was watching this. I was like, is it because I like gold dust so much?
It could
The
be. It
wrestler.
could
It's
be.
very confusing.
Could
Um,
be.
but yeah, we get Dairy Queen product placement immediately. Get that money in Disney. Get those spare dollars in James Gunn.
Yeah.
What did you think about young CGI de-aged Kurt Russell? Because I thought it looked quite creepy.
It looked shiny. It looked
He
really
did.
shiny.
I mean, I know the hair was accurate to the time, but
Yes.
he did look like a doll man.
There was something definitely off, but is that not just because we know Kurt Russell and
And
we
we,
know what he looked
yeah,
like when he was younger?
yeah, and I guess there could be like, and he's also the weirdest alien projection you've ever met or whatever. Like,
Well, yeah, he's this is just his idea of human form.
yeah, yes, we see him make it later, and he's like, "Oh, I created it from scratch," sort of thing.
Exactly. So Christ knows, but it wasn't terrible. It was a bit but he's not on screen long enough in that form to be like to
No,
form like an opinion where it's good or it's bad.
yeah, and we get some like hints towards what he's messing with. Like, there's a little the weird glowing plant that he's like growing behind the Dairy Queen.
It's very
Um,
pretty.
when they do a nice little, embrace, and you sort of focus in on the stomach and be like, Star Lord.
Hmm. I fell in love with a spaceman. Love her.
I know her accent's hilarious.
I love her because she is very, very English, very,
And she's
very
like, I
posh.
don't know, I don't know what kind of space what's it's you're going on about.
But I
Like,
like it anyway. Do you know what? I could talk like that all the time. I
uh,
love that southern accent.
like Luan from King of the Hill or something.
Absolutely. I love it. She's incredibly English. Her accent
Yeah,
is very posh, so to even pull that off was impressive.
yeah. And then that's kind of all we see of like the mysterious pastimes, because then we're shot 34 years
Oh,
later to
I
the
love
sovereign planet, is it just
this.
called, or
Yeah, it's just called the
the
Sovereign
sovereign?
Planet,
Yeah,
and I love this opening so much.
it's great, isn't it?
Yep,
But I think that's what you're seeing behind me, like the weird circular platform
the
with all the
hyperlonic batteries.
yeah. Oh, I can't remember what Drax calls them, but he just chooses a different name for them, and he's just like, "That's not what I said at all." And he's like, "Yes, it is."
Hyperlonic batteries or something. I love
I'll
it.
I'll look it up if you want to intro what
Yeah,
happens here.
so this is a brilliant opening of typical James Gunn style. It's bright, it's colourful,
Yeah,
it's giving you an idea that the Guardians have had many jobs. They've been working together a while. They've got this
yeah.
brilliant dynamic. Rocket is working on something which you then find out is a music box so they can
It
listen to tunes while they work.
Oh, isn't it so cute though how since the first movie, Rocket has started to like Earth music,
Hmm.
because like in the last movies, like he's the one like listening to it and stuff, and plays it at the end when he's got his like new mini team and stuff,
Yeah.
like right in the end of volume 3. And I'm just like, oh, it's like the one thing he's taken from like Quill to be
Hmm.
like, oh, this is your good idea, and
Yeah.
oh, it's sweet.
I love it, but and then we get to be introduced to Baby Groot.
Yeah, yeah. What does he call him later? Dumber, smaller Groot, which is true.
This is just to make it very clear. This is not the Groot that you met in the first one. This is a
Uh,
completely different version of Groot.
yeah.
And he's a little baby.
Yeah, he's a little more angry as well,
Oh, he's
as we
so
see over the movie.
yeah. Yes, he has some of the best scenes for in this movie, but the opening is Mr. Blue Sky
Yep.
by yeah, ugh, can't never say that name properly.
Oh,
Electric Light Symphony.
it is it's
Um
a hard like thing to say. ELO is not that easy to say either.
ugh. Electric Light Orchestra. God damn it,
Mhm.
sorry. Yeah, so Mr. Blue Sky playing as they are protecting the batteries that the Sovereign have asked them to protect from this big giant monster.
Yes, I'm looking up the tentacle monster now because it does show up. They're called abelisks, which is a very D&D sort of name for something. But yeah, the batteries are called Annulax batteries, and then
Oh,
like Drax
Valerian.
is yeah, Drax is like the Hobulary batteries. He's just like, that's not what I said at all.
This give me and this totally takes me into James Gunn's Suicide Squad. The
Yeah,
colors that's used, like the rainbow effect, like that's shooting out of the air, the monster, and
it's yeah. I mentioned that mentioned written down like it kind of like breathes out like oily gas type of stuff, and it
uh-huh,
creates like an amazing color scape, which I feel is very on brand for like space
yeah.
comics, where it would just be a full background spread with all the wavy lines and stuff. Like,
Yes, and all these cosmic colors, and
yeah,
it's just the palette of this movie is just like chef's
yeah.
kiss. It is beautiful, but this is just James Gunn.
They bring back
Uh,
the a holes thing as well because he's like Showtime a holes like when the when the battle starts.
Yeah, and if I remember rightly, when we did the Guardians of the Galaxy, I mentioned about his mask, and it's a shame that it doesn't get used. Kind of explains why it doesn't now because it gets destroyed in this one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but to see him in his mask and like just to see them all fighting together as a family, and
yeah,
oh, I love it. And the fact that he's when he mentions to Gamora about the sword. He's like, I
yeah.
see you've got guns. Thought guns was my thing and swords was your thing. She was like, do you think I want to fight this monster with a sword? And then she ends up using the sword anyway.
Yeah, and there's loads of funny throwaway lines where it's like where Drax hasn't got the jetpack on because it hurts his nipples.
His nipples are too sensitive. I love Gamora's sword in this because
Yeah,
it looks like it just flicks out.
yeah,
Like it
like
looks
it's
like
one,
it'd be tiny, like a flicker knife. Remember that
and then
when
it
I was a
like
kid?
somehow like becomes bigger and
Hmm.
yeah, like they all get too they get bored of like fighting the monster because it's too hard and like the hide is too thick and he's like, I'm gonna have to kill it from the inside, and they're all like, but isn't it the same thickness from the
But
inside?
I love the fact that Peter is like saying this to Gamora while they're still in mid fight, and he's like, "Should this really be a conversation that you're having now?" And she's like, "And this is what I tried to tell him."
And you see him inside being like, "Ah."
And that's when Gamora is like, "Right, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna split this monster open."
Oh, it's so funny because he like comes out and he's like, I have vanquished the horrible beast. And he's just
And
covered in like goo.
oh, I love the color. I love the colors and the consistencies in this page. The what I didn't notice before, which I noticed this time around, was I never saw Rocket steal the batteries.
Oh, like physically saw him, like, yeah.
Physically have them in his possession and put them in his pocket. I never saw him do that until I watched it back to the other day.
Yeah. He just loves stealing random tech bits, doesn't he?
Yes, I take that.
Like the
Um,
eyes and the legs and stuff.
but after this brilliant, and bearing in mind where all this is going on, Groot is just dancing
Yes.
all over the place. It's
And
brilliant.
narrowly avoiding shots and stuff and fun stuff like that. And like people get knocked towards him and you sort of see like the battle from like a
Yeah.
weird down at the floor perspective and stuff.
Oh, it's when he pauses when Drax is there,
Well,
and
yeah,
James Gunn explained it by saying that Baby Groot is obviously really annoyed Drax in the past with dancing, that he would
yeah.
think that he would have to stop doing it. Just so you know, the person who is playing the dancey parts of little Baby Groot is James Gunn himself.
Okay. I want to be Baby Groot.
Yeah, he did it. He was the when in the first Guardians where you see him as a little twig. That is James
Yeah.
Gunn dancing, and he did the same for. I don't know if he does it all the way through the movie, but definitely the dancing where you see him at the
Yeah.
beginning. That is James Gunn.
Yeah, well, if he's the one choreographing it, I guess he's the best person to do it. If he's like, I
It
want
just
it done like this.
it's like, is that how you dance, James Gunn?
I don't think I could pay attention because I was looking at the background a lot of the time, like
There's a
looking for
lot
what
going
what the
on.
people were doing.
Yeah.
Gamora is so badass in this movie. It kind of I'd forgotten over time, I think, but there's some moments later that is like super badass.
Hmm.
Um,
You meet
yeah,
my Gamora from the comics, the ones I know
yeah,
from the comic in Volume 3.
yeah.
That's the Gamora I remember.
Mhm.
But in this one, she's just there. It's just the the Gamora that we meet here is she's considerate, she know, like, I don't know, that's not Gamora. Gamora
Which
couldn't give a shit.
yeah, but she is like
She's a
a
space cowboy.
superhero. Yeah, superhero though, like full on super strength, like
Yeah. Oh,
crazy
Gamora
moves.
is
It's
hard. Like,
it's amazing.
Gamora's powers and abilities stretch further than what you've seen in the
Mhm.
MCU. She has a healing ability. Yeah, she's hard as fuck.
That's why I shouldn't have killed her and reset a character. Shouldn't have done that.
The gravitas of it, play. Oh, does it? We'll get there eventually.
Yeah,
That's a lot of things that I have to weigh up in my head. Is
true.
Was the payoff worth it?
And watch it again.
Hmm.
So like the obviously return to the queen and the golden people who are like these creepazoids who are like designed to be perfect
They are
golden
perfect.
humans.
They are genetically modified and incubated and,
Yeah,
created as gods, basically.
but they are stupid chuckleheads also, who
They
aren't
all
great at
obviously believe
space
their own
battling.
bullshit. Yeah, they all obviously believe their own bullshit.
Uh, but yeah, so like this is where we get our audience first hints at oh well, I suppose Peter's first hints at the unorthodox genealogy because they're just like, oh, there's something odd about you. Like
You're not right.
you're not perfect, but
But
in a
yeah,
chaotic, interesting way.
but you already had that pointed out by the Nova Corps.
Yeah, true.
As the Nova Corps already pointed out. Now, this is the bit in this moment right here is where I had to pause
Yeah,
because I couldn't stop laughing. There's a moment between Aisha and Peter. I'm going to call him Quill.
yeah.
Sorry,
Well, they're
between Quill
flirting.
where they're flirting, and you just see Gamora. She doesn't just roll her eyes; she actually goes cross-eyed.
Yeah,
She actually,
yeah.
like, to the point she's like, "Oh, but her eyes are huge," and she goes cross-eyed. And I was like, I've never noticed that before. What is happening? I had to pause it. I was like, that is so funny.
And like it's weird because he immediately regrets it, as if he's been working to get with Gamora all this time.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, this is where like Drax kind of has a moment with him, and he's like, he tells him like, look, some people are dancers and some people aren't. He's like, you're a stupid dancer, and like Gamora's not a dancer type of thing. And he tells the story about his wife who would he was like,
you
no
wouldn't
matter
even
what,
tap her foot.
yeah, like, no matter what kind of party was going on, she wouldn't dance. I thought that was better than a bit of the sappy stuff Drax got in the first movie. I think it felt more natural here when he was dropping it in.
He seems more at peace now.
Yeah,
Whereas in the first one, he was so, like, pent up with
yeah,
rage. Now he seems a lot at peace that he can talk about his wife for him in a fun way, like,
yeah,
and he's remembering her. Um, do we learn at this point that Rocket has stolen the batteries
yeah. Because they do
because the
get like
Sovereign
they
Fleet
get
come after
chased
them?
away on the ship, but and also there's some lines where Rocket's like struggling with sarcasm. Like he doesn't understand like human sarcasm. And they're having like they're getting an argument about like who gets to like fly through the asteroid field and
Oh,
stuff
that's
like
right,
that.
because there's a battle of the captains. Rocket
Yes,
can't quite give up his the fact that
like
he's been his own captain for so long.
yeah, he's like he wants to be like the driver, but then
Mm.
Peter's like, I've been driving this thing since I was 4 years old. Like the asteroid thing they go through is awesome though, where like the asteroids are like warping, like doing mini
Yeah,
teleport jumps, like it's a quantum asteroid field they call it.
I love
Um,
it.
and they just go around it though, like they fly through it, and they're like the rest of the fleet just went around the asteroid field.
They go through. Yeah, because this is when the sovereigns come in for the first time on their little drones
Yeah,
and attack
yeah,
because it's revealed that Rocket stole some high value. I can't even say it.
yeah. And because they couldn't like work together and go through the asteroid field normally, they were like fighting the controls. Then they got the ship more damaged, and Drax had to fly out the back and try and shoot people on a rope. like,
Yeah,
um,
something that
yeah,
could have and Gamora points this out, something that could have taken 2 minutes for them
yeah,
for one of them to sort out is now turned into an absolute fiasco
yeah.
because you couldn't get yourselves together to, get us through this, and Drax just jumps out. And it's the fact that later on she's like, is he still out there? Like
Yeah, but she's the one who stops the tether from like snapping, like with her super strength again.
'cause she's
Um,
hard as fuck.
yeah, and it's around here when when they do that line where he's saying about he's gonna put a turd in his pillow, and he's like, it's gonna be one of Drax's, and then he's like,
My
it's just
turds are famously.
it's just so funny. Like I just love is like it is like it's like a barbarian in like a D and
Mhm.
D adventure that just like laughs at like everything because it's kind of like how Thor acts as well, like early on when
Mm.
he's just like another like I kind of miss that kind of character. So whenever Drax is on, I'm very happy.
Yeah, I absolutely love him in this. I love him in all the movies, but this one
He's
especially.
amazing, yeah.
Yeah, you get to see such a great side of him in this one, and and how he is with Mantis, and we'll get into that in a minute, is just hilarious. Even though it
Yeah.
shouldn't be, it is still funny because it's that's who he is.
Yeah, it is quite soon though, because Ego on his weird flying egg saves them from like blows up all the
It's
ships.
it's
And
Rocket's face when he's going past, and he's like,
it's
"What?"
like there's a tiny man out there, and like,
He's
wasn't
like,
that
"How
just the
tiny?"
yeah, wasn't that just like the perspective? Like an
He's like,
inch
He's
tall man.
like, "How tiny about this big?"
Uh, and yeah, to mention as well that the golden people aren't actually in their ships; they're like flying them like video game arcade
Yeah, you
machines,
would love that.
and there's like little bleep bloop noises and stuff like that, and they're all
And it's like
crowded
little
round.
lights going out when they die when the ship gets taken out as well.
Yeah,
It looks a lot of fun.
yeah,
But they do crash land on a nearby planet called Behurt.
yeah, like bear heart sort of thing.
Bearheart, yeah. Sorry,
Um,
my pronunciation's
it's
terrible,
all
but
right. I don't know if they maybe shout it once because they're like, what systems are nearby when they're like crashing. Um, and this is where we do see Ego and Mantis technically for the first time, but it's just a quick like, oh, it's
oh,
them, and then
it's
and then we flash to another part of the galaxy because this movie
oh,
likes to do this a lot.
we go oh God, where is he? What
Oh,
planet's
I
he
didn't I
on?
didn't note down the planet, but it's like the sex planet. It's like
Yeah, but he's all the other Ravagers.
yes,
Yondu. Oh
and the
gosh.
gang.
So Peter Quill, Chris Pratt said that his taking his shirt off scenes meant nothing. It was literally him just taking his shirt off and look at my
Right.
abs, look how much I've worked out. But he said when Rucker was putting his clothes back on in that moment, the
Uh-huh.
vulnerability that you get from him in there, he said, was just you should have just leave my scenes out. Like that doesn't mean anything. Let's just watch Rucker
Oh,
be completely
yeah.
and utterly vulnerable as Yondu because it's a side of him that we don't usually get to see.
No, yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but um yeah, it's like the he's got like a robot lady that he's been
It's so depressing
smooching.
when she turns her out. It's so sad when she's like,
Yeah,
"Vroom," and it's like, oh, and he's left on his own.
yeah.
I adore Yondu in this film. Like I loved his character in the first one, but in this one, Yondu, Michael Rooker, is the star of this movie.
Oh, he's so good. And yeah, you do learn some extra stuff about him in dribs and drabs. This is where we learn he's been like kicked out of the Ravagers because as far as we knew, like we hadn't
He-
had it
we didn't
confirmed
know
that they were like an offshoot group sort of thing.
the one,
Um,
yeah.
and who shows up? Mr. Stakar, our own very Sylvester Stallone.
I loved this casting.
He's really good.
He's so good.
He's only in it
Um,
for like 2 minutes
but
tops, but
what
like,
he's in, when the shout down that he gives Yondu, you can't.
mhm.
Nobody else besides him would have been able to give him that shout down,
It's got
that talk
subtlety as
down, that
well, though.
strip down.
Yeah, but it has got like subtlety in his performance, especially later on. Um,
Oh well, yeah. Let's
but yeah,
let's wait for
so
that one.
so we find out that like Yondu and everyone got kicked out of the Ravagers because they were sort of dealing in children trafficking.
Yeah,
We find out later that was pretty much all Ego's doing, as in
yeah,
like that it was all part of that deal.
yeah,
And obviously it broke him with Quill eventually, and he kept him safe.
yeah.
I don't know if it was like when he found out what was happening to
I
them,
think it's when
or
he only found out
yeah.
because yeah, and it just happened to be that it was Peter that it fell on.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know, the crystal head person, can't remember what his
Yeah,
name is.
they're fun.
That's Michael Rosenbaum.
Oh, is
Um,
it?
yeah, and apparently Rob Zombie has another secret cameo as one of the Ravengers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he could blend right in on that
Mhm.
dusty spaceship.
Yeah, I love this though. I love seeing the community of the Ravengers
Yeah.
because of the the all of them together and how angry they're getting at Yondu.
Yeah,
That
you wouldn't
they've
think that the Ravagers had like a code of honor. And it means that they're gonna go away from this establishment and be like, you're blacklisted, and the 99 other Ravager like groups won't ever come here ever again.
oh my
So
gosh,
yeah.
we forgot to mention when we're with Aisha and the Guardians, the trade-off for the
Oh
protection of the batteries was to get we kind of need to mention that because she plays a huge part in this. They get Nebula.
yes, I
So
did.
Nebula is on board the ship when the whole thing crashes.
Yeah, sorry, we did skip over. That's their payment basically for stopping the squid guy
Yeah.
for Get Nebula, who was apparently picked up also trying to steal the batteries at some
Yes, that's
point.
right. The running
The
joke
Havulary
with the
batteries.
Havilever batteries. The running joke with her in that sequence is she says she's hungry,
Hmm.
and Gamora's like they're not ripe, and then
Oh
later on when
yeah.
she chomps on it, she's like they're not ripe. I love
Yeah,
Nebula in this movie.
she's good because she's like silly but scary
She's
still.
honest though. She's so
Yeah.
honest. And to be honest, when you hear her side of it and look at the state of her in comparing to
Mhm.
Gamora, you have to feel for the pain and anguish and why she's so angry at Gamora. I
Mhm.
get it. I understand why she drove that spaceship into her later on. Like I
Yeah.
understand that. Um this is such a starting point for Nebula's arc because her
Yeah.
arc throughout the whole of these Guardians has been phenomenal. She is probably one of my favorite Guardians. Um, she is not the same character as you will remember if you have read Infinity Gauntlet. She is,
No.
but the torture side, it's still there.
But yeah, like when she breaks off and gets to like be with the Avengers, I think she's the one who like shines the most,
She
like
really does. It's
um
she's such in a happy place. Like I
yeah.
think she loves being part of a team. She's hated being on her own for so long that when she's part of this team, she feels like she's home.
Yeah,
Something
but
that she's
like
something
yeah.
been waiting for her whole life.
Yeah, but it's like, she can't quite let them in yet because it's
No,
like,
no, she's still got
yeah.
her guard up, but you see that breakdown in
Hmm.
volume three.
Yeah.
There's some moments in volume three where I break my heart because of her,
Yeah.
because of
And like
how much she's grown.
there's so much like subtlety in this very silly at times movie. But yeah, like you even get the thing with the old Ravagers, like saying that they hate having to do this to Yondu, but like the code's the code, and it's like
His
I
voice
just
breaks.
yeah, and yeah, that's kind of when we get like them sort of walking away and just leaving Yondu in like the snow basically, and being like,
And
oh.
yeah, that encounter there is so, oh, it's powerful, but it
Yeah.
also leads into Taserface and Kraglin.
Oh,
Kraglin
I
of
love Cracklin.
all people, I love him.
He survived
Um,
somehow. He
he
survived the
did,
battle at the end.
he did, but he the kind of they start kicking some of the people who are on because they're starting to see Yondu's soft side, and
And
Yondu is
that,
and
yeah,
it's Yondu's fault why they are not part of the greater Ravager community.
yeah,
And sympathizers with Yondu are starting to get called
yeah,
out, and they're starting to notice them.
yeah, getting a bit of a mutiny vibes.
Yeah,
Um,
but it doesn't lead there quite yet.
I can't, yeah, I was gonna say I can't remember if this is when the gold people show up on that planet. Do they
Oh
show
my
up
God,
just
it is.
after?
It's just after
Yeah,
Edith. So funny.
with the little red carpet. Well, not a red
And the
one, the
music
little
is
roll.
and the music's playing, and as the thing gets stuck, the music stops. But then when it
Yeah,
starts rolling again, the music
yeah,
starts again.
because she won't touch down on the dirty floor of this planet.
Because why would she? She's a
And
sovereign.
yeah,
She's beautiful.
and they want to hire Yondu and the Ravagers to go and pick up the Guardians and get those amulary batteries back.
Amulary batteries. But this is another thing that gets the Ravengers is that
Yeah,
Yondu is like, we'll get the batteries, but we're keeping the batteries.
yeah,
And he's like, well, why are you always gonna let Quill get away with things? And he's like,
mhm,
and this kind of like really establishes where the Guardians of the Galaxies are in the
mhm.
in the galaxy, because he says we're not going to take on the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Nova Corps will be after us in a second. So there's
Yeah,
clearly an establishment there that the Guardians are legit.
yeah, but also like we learn over the movie that Yondu would never hunt them down properly because
No,
he
he
does love
wouldn't.
Peter, and that's why he lets him get away with everything. Like he let him get away with stealing the stone, in the
hmm
first movie.
When he laughs, when he opens the orb up, and he's just like, "Of
Yeah,
course, I
yeah.
taught him well."
He still checks it because he's like, well, he might have handed it over, but he's not
hmm
bothered either way, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
the fact that he left him with the trinket for him,
Yeah.
because
Oh
we all know
yeah.
he loves these little trinkets.
Yeah, and that shows
Um,
up again, heartbreak in the in
oh,
this one.
I'm not there
So
yet.
I think this is where they decide like to go with Ego and Mantis, but they have to split the party in half because some
Yeah.
people are going to stay with the ship to try and get it repaired. So that's Nebula, Rocket, and Groot, I think,
I
are the
don't think
ones who
Nebula
stay
has a
behind.
choice. She's kind of chained to the ship.
Yeah,
Um,
and she's missing a hand still, so she's got like a little pinchy claw.
yes. So, well, Gamora, because Peter gets the whole story about how he is his father.
Yeah,
And he says to Gamora, I'm not buying it. And she's like, well,
yeah.
hey, if he turns out to be a good guy, great, you found your dad. If he doesn't and he's a bad guy, we'll just kill him.
And he tells a story about his David Hasselhoff
Oh
picture in
my
his
God.
wallet when he was a kid.
What does she call him later on?
Oh, it's totally messed up. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's so funny. Yeah, so they go off with
But he had a magic boat, and he's like, it was a car that
car.
talked to him.
Yeah,
And
but
she was
she
like, why did the car talk? And it was like, help him
something
with his
fr it's
problems.
isn't it something Froggerstein? She calls
Yeah,
him.
yeah, something like that.
It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so there you get Ego, Mantis, Drax, Gamora, and Peter here,
Yeah.
and you've got Rocket, Groot, and Nebula, and the interaction between Rocket and um Quill before they leave isn't a
Mm,
great one. It's like you're gonna lose your friends with the attitude that you've got right now, because
yeah.
Rocket's attitude does stink. He is he's fighting everyone for no reason
And he
whatsoever. Because
took the
this,
batteries for no reason, kind of.
but he's just because he can.
Yeah,
That's what he
yeah,
said. Just because I can. He hasn't quite gotten out of the rocket he was before he
yeah.
met these. And it's almost like he's having a fight with himself
Mhm.
constantly because he doesn't want to lose who he was, but he doesn't want to not be with them.
Yeah, but he's like, he's doing that scared thing that like boys do when they're like,
Yeah.
they're scared to open up to people because then opening up makes you like vulnerable.
Yeah. And
But
he's not there yet.
yeah, but you can't make friends if you're not a bit vulnerable. So that's you got to
Ex-
do it. We did
exactly.
skip over a stupid Howard the Duck cameo on the Sex Planet,
Oh,
but I
I
hate
mean, that
Howard the Duck.
up until a few years ago, I generally thought the Howard the Duck movie was a horror film, because I
Might as well be.
freaking used to scare the life out of us as
Yeah.
a kid.
So
Um,
this is where we get
Talking
like some
ducks.
quite fun stuff because like they're on the ship Ego's like asleep because I don't know. We find out later he has to like return to recharge every now and then.
Yeah, so you see Mantis do something, but there's not quite explained what it is
Yeah,
that she has done.
just say he's sleeping now.
Hmm.
And this is where Mantis kind of gives us the rundown of what she can do and shows off like her empath abilities and stuff. And she like touches like Peter and she's just like, oh, you feel like love for this one, like, and like not like a friendship love, like a romantic love. And then like Drax is like, she told everyone your deepest, darkest secret.
But then when she touches Drax and she feels his energy, like how she starts then laughing. But then she goes to go and put her hands on Gamora, and oh my god, nope,
Yeah,
no,
don't
no,
do
no.
that. And while this is happening, Rocket's having his own like Rambo moment with his like
These
forest traps.
I love these moments. So yeah, so the Ravengers have come upon the ship,
Yeah,
and they've
because he
split
had
up
a
into
tracker on it because he said he put a tracker on at the end of the last movie, sort of
yes,
thing.
and they go off in two groups because Rocket is kind of like set something up where he can explode, like literally explode them into the air, and it's going perfectly with the soundtrack where they're like one up, one
Yeah.
down, and it's so good. But when Nebula manages to convince Groot to let her out because a friend is his friend's gonna.
So
I
she
mean,
can help. Yeah.
Rocket gets called so many names in this, like
Yeah. I
Crash
genuinely
Panda.
I genuinely got a shock when she shot Yondu in the head as well. 'Cause I was like,
Well, she shot his fin. She
I
didn't.
know,
She
but it does knock him out. But I was like,
yeah,
whoa, I couldn't remember that at all.
and because the arguments are starting already with the
Yeah.
Ravengers, and when she does that, I think it's a catalyst for them to be like, okay, well he's down now. Let's call let's go for a mutiny.
Yeah.
And they don't quite do it to Yondu yet, but they start to kick a lot of Yondu's aides out of the window.
Yeah, that sucks how they just kill all of the good Ravagers.
One of them is such a he's a Scottish. I think he's a Scottish guy.
Yeah, I
Um,
recognized him.
yeah, he's in
Absolutely.
Braveheart. He's in
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy. He is such
Yes.
a bitch, but he's such a great character
He's
actor.
like, yeah, in Sons of Anarchy, he's like one of the old journeymen. Like he's been with the
Mm-hmm.
club for like years, but not the Ron Perlman, like his secondhand man sort of
Yeah,
thing. Um,
he's. I
yeah,
think yeah, he's going to be in something else as well. He's just being cast, and I cannot remember for the life is what it is. But I want nothing but good things for him because he is such a great character actor.
yeah.
And it's such a shame that we didn't get to see him anymore in this because it would have been good to see him like on Yondu's side.
Yeah, because they could have used some more help at the end because it gets pretty scary. But so
Oh,
they go to Ego's planet, and it's like one of those like total Garden of Eden type places with like crazy castles on the hills and fountains and
it's
trees and
just so
everything,
beautiful.
and the bubbles everywhere, and like everyone's got like stupid faces when they're like looking at the bubbles. But I know they're doing it like on purpose to be like it's
The
a bit
euphoria
silly.
of this place. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
look at this place. It's just this is heaven.
it's like a
This is
cartoon almost, isn't it? Like some
yeah.
of the visuals here. But yeah, he does, as Sammy said at the start, he kind of gives himself a bit of a rundown explanation of what he is, and he's like,
Hmm.
he says, "I'm what's called a celestial." Like he says that. I don't know if it's fully confirmed by Eternals like logic
I
and stuff, but those are
I
the words he used in
yeah,
this movie.
he used them because I asked was talking to my husband about this when we were
Yeah,
watching it, and I said, is this the reason why they've brought Ego in as Quill's father to kind of give a gateway and an explanation to Celestials? Because let's be honest, they are very hard to understand what they are. I am
yeah.
still to this day struggling because then he said no, because he's not really a Celestial.
He's
And
just
then
like
that
posing as one, or he
it
thinks
just
he's
it
one,
it just
maybe.
threw me a lot. I will by the time we get to the Eternals, because I actually have pulled out a few of I love the Eternals. And I've actually pulled out a few of my books ready to like kind of brush up on my
Yeah.
Eternals knowledge. Well, for when we get to it. Because I really want to do that movie justice. I want everyone to love it. He's all gonna love it by the end of it.
Okay.
But I don't. I just I need to understand the Celestials, and I don't know if he is one. I know that when Quill says you're a god, and he goes small g.
Yeah. Well, he sort of does it backwards because in the Celestials movie, this Eternals, they kind of talk about how the Celestials are like implanted on
Yeah,
worlds to like draw in the energy and then they burst out.
but he's
He's
not.
he says he woke up in an endless void as sort of a consciousness, and
Hmm.
he pulled in and created all the matter like around him from like the like
Yeah,
started from scratch. Which is kind of because I was reading about Galactus, his origin is kind of similar in that he was sort of a being like, as
hmm,
what we would know as an alien who accidentally got caught in like the opposite of a big bang, like a big crunch. And then when that released again, he was formed into whatever Galactus is, like a energy being, and he kind of had to pull himself back together, like and
yeah.
form a form around him, like his energy self. So I don't know if it was maybe he thinks he's a celestial, but that's just all he's been able to figure out from all the places he's been and stuff. Because we know from the first movie they were inside a hollowed out celestial head. So
Yeah, that's
maybe
right.
there
They
is
were.
some the nowhere, maybe there is some information out there we
It's
don't know.
for some reason, celestial history and knowledge just will not stick in here.
Yeah,
I am having a hard time kind of understanding
yeah.
what it is they are. I've read so much, but for some reason, it's just not
No,
staying
it's
in
it's
there.
super complicated because everyone's like, oh, and yeah, and then you have like the living tribunal who's like, above.
And I understood that because,
Yeah.
and I got
um,
that.
but it's interesting, and he sort of talks about how he took the information in and formed himself like a body that he can send out to other planets. But
Yeah.
what I was thinking, like, is that his human form when he goes everywhere, or does he appear as different aliens, like when he wants
I
to go
to
somewhere
blend
else?
in, to like blend into
Yeah,
them. I would assume so.
you'd have to, I
Um,
guess, wouldn't you?
yeah, I
But
would
this is
assume he
where
did.
Drax asks him about his penis, like if he made himself.
Yes, I have all the junk. I love the way Kurt Russell says junk.
And Kurt Russell is really good when you just get him as he looks. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, the age down is a bit creepy, but when he's in these scenes, he's perfect for like a self-aggrandizing
yeah,
like baddie who thinks he's right, like knows he's right, sort of thing.
yeah. But
There's
it's
no there's no like there's no regret in him at all, which is
no.
pretty
I don't
interesting.
think he would understand regret if it
Yeah,
because it's not something he's programmed
yeah.
himself. Like he
And
was
then
just a thing.
and when they're talking about his junk, like Peter's like, I don't want to hear about like my my conception. And then Drax is just like, my father would tell me about the night I was conceived
On the
every
on
holiday or something. The solstice.
every winter solstice.
It's
Oh
uh
God,
Drax's
he's
like little world building like nuggets of
yeah,
information are just so interesting.
absolutely brilliant. Do we because we go back to Yondu at some point? We do flick between
Yeah.
this and that.
This is
The
when
Ravengers.
Taserface's name gets revealed, I think.
Well, this is the interrogation. Rocket's being interrogated.
Yeah.
They're hurting, not hurting him, but they are
They are kicking
swilling.
Groot around, I.
They're swilling him. They're pouring
Yeah.
like drinks on his head, and it's so sad to see. But then, they're interrogating Rocket, and this is where the reveal of Taserface, and oh my God, that laugh
It
is
is
just
funny when you say it out loud.
Taserface.
He's like, he's like, do you shoot tasers out of your face? And he's like, no.
It's metaphorical.
And
Did
like
you
he starts losing the crowd though, doesn't he? Like every time.
did you see when they went to San Diego Comic Con and the
Uh,
Ravengers were there
I don't
and they were
think
all
so.
in
In
full
outfits.
costume?
Oh.
I will find you the clip because the guy with the glasses on,
Uh-huh.
he is so funny. He was brilliant, and Taserface was there. And I
Yeah.
just love where he goes, it's metaphorical.
But you can see people starting to look around at each other and think like, is it?
But then they start laughing with Rocket.
Yeah.
Because he's like, what was the other choice? Scrotum face.
Yeah, they've just ruined his name forever now on the ship.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right. But
yeah, and so this is where like we get like this is where the trauma starts happening because we get a bit with Gamora and Nebula, I think, talking about the every time they had to battle as children.
well, Nebula's on the ship because she's the one
Yeah.
who helped disable Yondu. So she's with the Ravengers at the moment, and
Yes. Okay.
she all she wants is a ship. That's it.
Yeah.
She's given a new arm, um,
Yes. No.
and
But that's when it happens though. When he's like, he says like to
it's
what's he
Kraglin.
called? Yeah. Like she says to him, and he's like, okie dokie type of thing, because she's
No,
like,
it's the way she's going
yeah.
there. Yeah, because he's going, what are you going to do with your cut of the share? And he's like, I'm going to get my, this ship and I'm going to go and kill my sister. And da da da. And he's like, oh, I thought you would have bought, like, a nice hat where all the girls went, ooh.
Yeah, and she says like every time they had a battle, Nebula like would lose and Thanos would replace part of it with machinery.
Yeah,
And there's not really anything he can say to that, is there? Like,
it's no. And it just makes me hurt for Nebula so much because she explains like how the spine was ripped out, her brain was ripped out, eyes,
yeah,
everything that she doesn't even exist as who she was
yeah,
originally anymore.
and no one
She's
looks like her. She's like you know what I mean? Like, there's no
she's
one. She doesn't have
no.
like a race that we can tell anymore.
She is Cree, I think.
Yeah.
Because but
So is
I've
Yondu as well, which I hadn't realized. Like
yeah,
this version
Yondu's
of
Cree.
Yondu, because he says to
Yeah.
Rocket later when they have a heart to heart in the jail cell.
Well, this is leading up to that
Yeah,
because Rocket is put in the same cell as Yondu, who just looks like a broken shell.
yeah. He
He's
just
just
wants to die.
yeah, and they have this massive heart to heart where he's like, "Well, why did you steal the batteries? Why are you
Mhm.
being so selfish? Why are you pushing these people away?" And
Yeah.
Yondu kind of gets through to him and it's the whole, "I know your heart because you are me."
Yeah, that's the part that gets him, isn't it? He's like, I know what you're doing right now.
Yeah,
Because he's done that
be,
in the past.
yeah.
Um, and I guess he did it with Peter as well. He kept him at arm's length just a
Mm-hmm.
bit too much, so that he
But
ended
yeah,
up
because
hating him by the end of it.
he always threatened to eat him.
I love how they bring that joke back when he tells his dad, and he's like,
Yeah,
"God damn it, Yondu! Like,
yeah,
eat
always threatened
you."
to eat. Yeah, we ain't never tasted Terran before. Um,
Love that.
yeah. But that whole scene between Rocket and Yondu is so
It's great.
raw. It's so emotional, but then it is totally broken up by the fact that they are going to try and get out of here, and
Yeah.
they get the aid of Baby Groot, and
Well, he doesn't actually help.
it's so good. I love this scene
Yeah.
when he starts because they ask him, they show him the symbol. And they
Yeah.
say, in a drawer that has this symbol on, my prototype Finn is in there. Bring
Yeah.
it to me. And what he comes back with is just hilarious. The finger. And he's like, do you have a random drawer full of fingers? And it's Rucker just going,
No.
no.
um and like, yeah, so he has to keep going to sneak back into the room where they're all sleeping after they've been partying.
Hmm.
And yeah, he brings back loads of dumb stuff, like, and the
But
cybernetic eye, and then Rocket's like, wait, keep it, and he's like, he's gonna wake up and not know where his eyeball
but then
is. Like
it's
the leg thing again.
yeah, but then it's Kraglin who
He helps, yeah.
he helps because it's when he says they were killing all my friends, and I'm like, oh, Kraglin, like you are such a sensitive little thing. Um, yeah, Kraglin helps Groot get the prototype Vin,
Yeah.
and we have one of the best, greatest, I don't even know what to call it,
Yeah.
scenes
A murder montage.
With Yondu. How cool did them two look as they are walking out of that room? And Rucker's just straight on looking.
Yeah.
Oh,
And this is closer comic accurate Yondu with the fin.
hmm
I know it's not really the same character, but it's like the name was taken but from like that guy. It was a different type of alien, I guess, and he was an
yeah.
archer. But it's very fun to see them reference back to that with the prototype fin like sort of idea and stuff.
I love this scene so much. Watching them just, it's the colors, it's the
And there's
arrow
like
being
guys
shot around.
falling from the sky
Yeah,
and like being the background sort of, like,
the
it's more
music.
like a music video than a, yeah.
The music choice is absolutely perfect, even though for the life of it, I've got a song stuck in my head, and it's a different one to what this scene is.
Yeah, this one, the music doesn't hit as much for me on this one, but I think it's just because it's not an era I'd heard
I
all of
love the
these.
soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Oh,
it's good. It's just not one that like I hadn't heard the songs before this
it
movie for a
just
lot of them.
yeah, it has such a vibe of 70s summer.
Mm.
Like that's oh, you can just chilling out in a field and oh, I love I don't know why that just comes to mind when I hear these
I don't like
songs.
it when Ego says the lyrics. He makes it creepy.
Oh, the river. Yeah.
It's like,
Mandy.
yeah, because we get a little bit of back, like I say, this movie jumps back and forth between places like crazy. We
But
do get a little,
we're only the
yeah,
Ravengers and then we're on
and
Ego's
then
planet.
yeah, so but then we get a little bit of them like Peter and him fighting, being where he's like talking like, why didn't you go back for mom type of thing? Why didn't you come back and like you know save her or do this and that? And he's like, I had to sit there and watch her die, and it's like he has some sympathy, but not really, because he always
Doesn't
he always switches it back to like, but you're like powerful now, like you can use this energy.
it's like
And he's like,
yeah, it's like look over here
yeah,
instead of
yeah,
like actually dealing with what Peter's trying to get through. But at this point, Gamora knows something's not right.
yeah,
It was Mantis was having a conversation with Drax where she nearly said something, but
yes.
Gamora walked out at the wrong time and she stopped herself, which has got
and
Gamora's head thinking, what is going on
and
here?
this
But
is like
Pete,
while Peter and Ego playing catch with the little energy ball
yeah,
together.
and Peter is so, he's so taken aback by the fact that he's now got a father and he's all powerful, and this whole new thing is opening up for him, but he feels Gamora's trying to take it away from him.
He's almost going off the deep end with it. I do
Yeah.
love that sit down with Mantis and Drax though, when he's just like, you are hideous or horrifying to look. And then like he tells a story about like his daughter and stuff, and he's like, this reminds me of like the ponds or whatever where we use like he has a nice moment, but it's
He
all
always
surround
ruins it.
it's all surrounded by the weird comedy.
Yeah.
Like
But Gamora, after the fight, Gamora goes off, and I love this shot of her just
it's
sitting
so
in a
funny.
field, just staring directly at the camera, and you can just she's trying to have some peace and quiet,
And
but
that annoying flower.
even that flower next to her that is like kind of she can hear it when she
Yeah.
gets her sword and just whoosh, and then
Yep.
it's like silence again, but then
Not silenced.
not silent because a big massive spaceship comes down and literally
it,
tries to ram her.
it probably it like probably shoots out like those like old movies in the cornfields, like where they'd be running like from the
Is it just me?
biplane.
How bad a shot at people that she couldn't even get one shot at Gamora? Like she
Yeah.
missed her all purposefully? Don't know.
Yeah.
Because for all there's a lot of rage behind Nebula, she's still seeking that sister that she always wanted. Because
Yeah, because
she pulls back quite a bit.
yeah, it's interesting. So like Sammy was saying, she literally does like try to drive a ship into her,
Yeah.
narrowly misses, but then gets trapped in like the flaming wreckage in like a cave. And
Not
then
before
Gamora, oh sorry, yeah.
Gamora, well, not before Gamora picks that massive gun off the side of the ship.
It's so cool.
This shows how hard Gamora is when she literally just yanks it up
Yeah.
and starts shooting at her.
Yeah, with the guns that were shot at her like 10
Yeah,
seconds ago. And it looks like the coolest action movie shot you've ever seen, with her like walking towards like the camera and the ship, just like like but she
does
does
a good
try
job.
and save her because
Yeah,
she doesn't actually want to kill Nebula,
no,
but she needs to not die herself.
but it's always like Nebula takes quite a few chances with Gamora,
Yeah.
but to the point where it does eventually stop, and it's the whole like Gamora saves her, but then Nebula goes to kill her, and she's like, "Are you kidding us? Like, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to save you."
But
But
yeah,
then
then
it all comes out.
you get a good line where she's like, you were the one that only wanted to win, and I just wanted a sister, and that's kind of what stops the fight.
It
Because like,
breaks it. Yeah,
yeah, because like I guess Nebula's still in this mindset of like, well, she wanted to kill me when we were kids, therefore I need to stop her
yeah.
now
But
because it's she's
when
dangerous.
she does hear Gamora's side, and I can't remember if it's here or later, where she's like, "I was a child too, and
Yeah,
I was just trying to survive too.
yeah,
It wasn't a case of I wanted to hurt you. I just didn't want to be hurt myself." And
yeah,
it's a hard place for the two of them to be in.
yeah.
Um, but
I think this gets them on the same page finally, where they can be like, no, it was actually Thanos who's
It's
to
actually
blame.
him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, why are we blaming each other? It's like that whole
yeah,
cheating thing. Why are
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
blaming the other woman? Blame him.
yeah, yeah.
I'll blame
Um,
her.
and so like this is where Peter and Ego have a weird heart to heart and talk about how they're immortal as long as
Oh,
they stay on the planet and stuff. But
it.
this next part I love though, like after that whole weird father son thing.
Well, yeah, where
Um,
he's like, you could do all this, and he's like, what, I can build this, and he's like, it's gonna
oh,
take
like a
you a long time, and he's
Pac-Man.
like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna build some weird shit. I'm
Yeah.
gonna, I'm gonna build a giant Pac-Man.
Which he does later on. But I love when Mantis goes to wake Drax up. He thinks she's trying to have sex with him. And he's
Ew.
just like, and he's like, fake mouth. He's like, I'm picturing it. It's idiots. It's just, it's so silly.
It is, but I think this is where Mantis has had enough and she can't take the secret
Yeah.
anymore and of what the plan really is.
Yes,
But
and the sisters are also working their way under the planet because like it's kind of weird in here, right?
mhm,
And then there's
yeah,
sort of is this where they find the big pile of skulls pretty much
yeah.
around this time?
But the thing is, though, it's not a case of Quill has to be told any of this to
No.
realize because Ego does it himself.
Yeah,
He
true.
actually gives Quill a reason to hate him, so he is starting the whole procedure of turning him into an actual battery. Um,
Yeah, because there's some interesting like chats here as well where he basically starts he tells him about his plan to put a piece of himself on every planet he could get his
mhm,
hands on, which is what the flower was.
yeah,
And he sort of says like he yearned when he was creating himself. He yearned to meet life, and he found life disappointing, is what he
yeah,
says. Um, and this is where he shows Peter what he calls eternity, and does that weird thing where he's like beep, and then his
yeah,
eyes go like, and he sees the whole picture. So this is like caused some not clashes in the fandom, but two sides where some people are like, this is just eternity, like lowercase e. He's just telling you you're
uh-huh.
going to see everything. And but other people are like, but is he showing Peter the Marvel entity eternity,
Eternity.
who is an
Ugh.
actual like
Yeah,
a being, like a Galactus level being?
no,
Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think it was that literal. I thought it was just
no.
like it was metaphorical.
Metaphorical. Yeah, I believe so. It would be too much to.
To just show him
It would be
like,
too.
yeah,
Yeah, it'd be far too much to get into that side of it. But Igor ruins this moment
yeah,
massively.
because this is where he's got his glazed over like black eyes, and he's like, I am, like he like Peter's like fully sort of, he's not fully, but he's taken over at this point, kind
Yeah.
of. He's like euphoric and weird. Um, right. I did forget to mention this one thing because it does set up our Stan Lee cameo for the night. When Yondu and Rocket are escaping in the ship, he's like, "Oh, we're gonna jump straight to like whatever the ego planet is," and he's like, "You can't do that. That's 700 light jumps away, and humans cannot like." He says like mammalians can only
And
handle
we
50.
and we're gonna do it in
he's
700.
he's like, it's gonna get weird, and the faces start like going all funny. But this is how we end up seeing Stan Lee, as where the camera is jumping
Yeah.
in and out of all these different like wormholes, and Stan Lee's just sat with the Watchers in a spacesuit,
Yeah.
telling them about all his cameos. It's
All
very
of them.
meta.
So James Gunn obviously directed this one, but did you
Yeah.
know James Gunn actually directed him in the Doctor Strange one as well?
Oh, like directed Stan Lee's bit.
Cameo, yes.
Okay,
He
I
also
didn't think so.
directed another one, but it has been undisclosed as to which one it was.
Right, it's a secret.
It's a secret. I don't know why it's a secret, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So
he's just
Stan,
like, he's
I
like,
think they had
ah,
him for a
this
day,
yeah, and he's like, this next time I was a mailman and stuff like that. And we just see the ship like zip past behind them.
and he's just sitting talking the Watcher's ears off.
Yeah, they're not saying anything.
So they're gonna crash. They're gonna go back to Ego.
Yeah,
However, because Nebula's told them what's going on. No, Gamora's told Rocket what's going on. But then we get the heartbreaking news as to why Peter Quill's mom had to die.
yeah. I'm sure you want to say this line as well.
I don't. I'll start
uh,
crying.
No, I know, but he's yeah. I'll gonna have to say it, but it's like it broke my heart to put that tumor in her head, and it's like you didn't have to do it, mate.
No, you didn't
But
have to. You didn't have to end her life
no,
and take his mother away from him. But that instant, like, ooh, the
it's
camera
great
panning
though.
back.
It's like what
Yeah.
I love about it is like Peter is so he feels so strongly about this stuff that it knocks like the cosmic power out of his head
Mm-hmm.
basically because and he's done it other times with like to protect friendships or to like
Yeah.
save people. It takes away his like fight or flight. I
Yeah.
guess it puts him into fight mode, I guess, but it takes away like any fear and he just becomes like a guided missile to be like,
Yeah.
you're terrible. I'm gonna
You're
like
you're
stop
an
you.
awful person. So
And he
yeah,
just starts shooting him. Doesn't
he
he? Like he
didn't
shoots loads of holes in him.
he didn't need to be told that Ego was a bad man because he already tells him himself and he
Yeah.
just shoots him in the face. But by this time, Drax is coming in, Mantis is coming in, and it's like
Yeah.
everyone's telling him all this information, and he's like, I already know. I
Yeah.
kind of already know what kind of person he is.
And like yeah, so like that's what all the skulls are. Like the world's literally built on the skulls of like his failed children because he was collecting other people like Peter
Yeah,
to try and like mix his genes in a way that would work to be like as powerful as Peter is. It's
yeah.
very creepy and weird.
It
um
is. It is.
and I wasn't sure why he turns into David Hasselhoff for a bit in
It
this
because he
section.
was like, I want to. I was trying to find the. He tried to create the form that would
Yeah,
best suit Peter to
yeah,
accept him as a father. But then he was like, well, I tried to get the best form to suit you, and then that's when
yeah.
Hasselhoff comes because he's always imagined Hasselhoff as being his
Yeah,
dad.
it's a bit weird.
I loved it.
Yeah, but then this is where he gets the old tentacle in the back, and he becomes like a battery man, I guess.
Basically, because he needs to use the power in order to. What's he wanting to do again? He
Well,
wants
this
to.
starts waking up all of the weird plant things.
Yeah,
So I guess he needs more. I guess he needs more than
he's
himself.
trying to. Yeah, he needs the power from them to get the plants to basically form, so he can create a new extension of himself.
Mhm. So
So
is this thing where the plants wake up? Is that a blob reference? Because it looks like the town from the Blob, and it
it
starts
does,
bubbling
doesn't
over.
it?
It looks like that like big open street, that they have in the Blob, the
Yeah.
famous one where they have the Blob Fest parties and everything now.
That was a very interesting fact that you gave me when we did the blog. To be honest, the original, I want to forget that movie as quickly as I watched it.
I bet Peter
But the
Quill would have
remake,
seen it.
yeah, but the remake, but you do see Quill's grandfather when all of
Yes.
when all the plants are starting to wake up and the world is starting to kind of like fall on its arse. You do see Quill's grandfather
Right.
being in
Okay.
a car, being chased by whatever is
I
happening
hadn't even
in
put that
his.
together, and obviously now that I've seen Volume 3, I know that he
Mhm.
eventually goes back to meet him. Um,
Spoilers.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is where like all hell breaks loose on the planet basically, because he shot Ego to pieces, so he's all like half made of like skeleton and bits, and
I love
this and
that.
like Yondu lands the ship on him, which kind of like puts him out of action for a little while he has to like rebuild himself.
Yeah. But he doesn't rebuild himself in the form that we've seen him.
Not quite,
It's
no.
no, it's just the ego form. It's part of his planet, whatever that means. You
Yeah.
can still make him out. You can make out that it's Kurt Russell there.
I mean, he does make like a giant spectre version of himself, and then like there's like the thing where he's talking to Yondu in the ship, and he's like, "Of course, I've got issues. That's my freaking father." Like, and there's like the drive through him and stuff like that. Because like
Yeah.
Yondu's like immediately starts complaining about the ship not working and stuff, as if he's like it's like the dad getting back behind the driver's seat sort of thing.
Yeah. He he's trying to give I think this is where Yondu's trying to give Quill some fatherly advice where he's like my fin is not controlled by my whistling, it's controlled by my
He
heart.
tries, yeah.
But he
He
can't
has like
quite get it out. Yeah. Yeah, they have their moments in here, but the Rocket comes up with it quickly where he's like the only way we're gonna destroy him is by going to the core
oh yeah,
and the
got
core
it.
is in the middle.
Gotta have a Star Wars mission to the core. They've already had the Star Wars asteroid belt, so now they need to do the core.
But while all this is going on, to top it all off, the sovereigns have arrived.
Yeah, because like they have also been tracking like Yondu, I think, at this
Yeah,
point. Oh,
because
sorry,
they
no,
want
Taserface tells them
Taser.
where Yondu is. Like, let them know the doom was
Was
set by
sealed by
Taserface.
Taserface, and the bloody sovereign person
They
starts
laugh at
laughing
him.
just as he dies.
I know.
Um, it's so good. But yeah, so to top it all off, if you know, fighting a living planet wasn't bad enough,
Yeah.
they've now got the sovereign army to take into account as well.
But guess what actually does help? The
Mm,
bomb is made out of the annulary batteries.
that
So
they are after.
if he
They're
didn't
really
have if he
or
didn't have
Larry
them though,
batteries.
yeah, if he didn't have them, maybe Rocket was like, right
Oh,
all along.
there's some really funny scenes in this, especially like telling Groot which button not to press. But it's you're making him nervous. And he's like,
Yeah,
he says, but he keeps repeating back to us the wrong thing. Have you got any tape? And then like Quill's asking everyone, and you can just hear, and he's going, "Did you ask Nebula?" And
he's
he's
like,
like,
yes.
"Yeah, she was standing next to
He's like, I
Groot."
didn't hear. Like,
I
yeah, but
love them moments.
I do love it how it's an extension of like we all know as a viewer how unreliable Groot is because we've seen him fail, and then he gets to like
Has
to
his
actually prove
moment.
himself. Yeah, but I
Yeah,
just love it
it's
how he even to the very end he still thinks about pressing that button that
he
blows
just
it
like
up immediately.
hovering over it, but then it's how he just runs off with it.
It's
Like
like this is the button that kills everyone immediately. So don't press
that one gives you 5 minutes. That one will kill you immediately. And he's like, repeat back to us. I am Groot. Yep, I am Groot.
that.
Yep, I am Groot.
No.
No. Again, Vin Diesel back to do every single I am Groot.
Yeah, it's just very pitched up for him. But yeah, so they do like a really cool thing here with the ship because it's got like a mining laser thing on it where it's like little balls that like roll into like lock into place and
Yeah.
stuff, and they like shoot almost to the core. Um, but then they kind of mess around so that the little balls like go on every single direction of the ship, and then they shoot like lasers everywhere, and
Mm.
that takes out most of the Goldie ships. And I think like they all end up exploding out of that ship at some point, and
Oh
that just
yeah, Aisha get like has defeat
yeah,
massive,
and
and we
she
get
she's flying one this time, isn't she? Like in the little
yep.
cockpit thing.
She's in there. She gets her hands dirty.
And I think
Um,
this might be the Mary Poppins part as well when
not
when the ship
not quite,
explodes. No,
because we have a moment where, and in my notes it is celestial powers. So I guess
yes,
that's
he
what they
wakes
are
back up,
calling
doesn't
it.
he?
Yeah, because this is where
Yeah,
Quill, changes into his. Because no, you are absolutely right. That's
like
right. The
this is
ship
where
that
they
they're on,
land.
they
Yeah,
land. Yeah, because Quill then has to go off, doesn't he? Because it's Quill who they're waiting for at the
yeah.
end, and that's when he does his big fight. But yeah, this is the Mary Poppins, y'all.
He's like, yeah, because he's just flying down. He's like, he looks like Mary Poppins. He's like, was he cool? And he's like, yeah, he
Yeah,
was
it was
cool.
damn cool. The
I
delivery
love
on Chris
that.
Pratt on some of these lines is absolutely fantastic. To be honest, I'm not Chris Pratt as a person's biggest fan,
Nobody's
but
good in these
he
kind of movies.
is, and it's
Yeah,
hard to kind of like. I'm happy to distance
yeah,
him and just think of him as Peter Quill. It's easier for
yeah.
me because I will just go on a massive rant.
But I love how he knows Yondu so well, but he doesn't choose this moment to make fun of him. He's like, no,
No,
you are. It is a cool thing. I
you
told
are
you.
cool. Nah,
He did
Mary
make fun
Poppins,
of him, but then
y'all.
he walked it back just to
Yeah.
save his feelings, and I love that.
Yeah, because the when after this moment you got that beautiful shot, and I love the fact how Marvel do this where they have these still shots of like your heroes to where you could
Yes,
take a photograph of that because you
yeah.
have them all lined up, ready to go.
And he's a big fit. He's a big like rocky face now. His ego. He's like
Yeah.
just a giant head.
And is this where they get Mantis to get him to put him to sleep?
Yeah, with like the sort of veins that are running through the ground. I think that's a really cool touch. How
Yeah.
if she can touch one of them, it counts as like touching
But
him.
she doesn't know how long she can hold him for. So they kind of like this is where this is leading up to Quill's big fight with them as
Mhm.
Pac-Man.
Yeah.
He does get his Pac-Man dream. Um,
And he's got loads of tentacles now because like they have a whole like fight against the rock tentacles, don't they? Like
yeah,
everyone who's left standing.
but everyone kind of gets out
Mm.
onto the ship because, well, this is a when Yondu, sorry, Rocket, when it's about to explode, Groot has set the 5 minute
Yeah.
alarm off perfectly, and as they're about to leave, he goes to Yondu and he's like, I've only got one pack left, and
Mm.
there's Quill, and Rocket's ready to sacrifice himself for Quill,
Oh yeah.
but Yondu has to say, I need to do this. He's my
Yeah.
boy. I'll get him out of this. I
Yeah.
need to do it. You need to let me have this.
And like
And then,
this is where we get the payoff for the nipples joke as well when he slaps the
yeah,
jetpack on Drax and he's like, my nipples.
yeah. But you get Rocket, Nebula, Gamora,
Mhm.
Mantis, Drax all onto the ship. And
Yeah.
when Gamora finds out that Quill is still out there, she goes to go and get him to where
Yeah.
Rocket stops her and says, I
Yeah.
can only afford to lose one friend today.
And Drax as well as the one shouting about it on like the intercoms and stuff, which I
Where's
was kind of
Quill?
surprised about. Like I know he loves him, but you never know until he like acts like that. Um, but yeah, because like the planet's like changing and some of it's crumbling, some of it's growing because they like
Hmm.
ride like columns up, don't they?
Yeah.
Before he like stops them, and it looks awesome. Like the visuals are like amazing, and like
Oh,
it's just the sheer creativity, like how people come up with this kind of like
yeah.
moving battlefield that's just made of anything they can
They've
think
just
of.
exactly they've just created a whole planet that
Yeah.
has everything has like a part and a section to it, and
But then it
it's
all starts moving and you're just like, what?
yeah.
And there's a
This
big brain in the middle.
this is what like I would love to be able for my head to do. It's world. I
Yeah.
love the idea of world building. This is why I'm such
Yeah.
a George R. R. Martin fan and a Tolkien fan. I
Yeah.
love the idea of how people do it. It's so interesting and intriguing to us because my brain could not compute or comprehend how you even start there. So
Yeah.
I love the idea of when people go in and create, even just like this part right here, the moving parts of it, they know what everything does, the vines that go through, like the if he's that are
Yeah.
connected to him, it's just it's amazing.
And like the effects look really good at this part. I did note down there was some parts where some like quick movement CGI looked
Yeah.
a bit silly, like some of the superpowers, but like this part with
Okay.
the tentacles, like wrapping around people and
Yeah.
stuff, looks really good. But yeah, so as you were saying, Sammy, earlier, this is
Hmm.
where Yondu gets his full advice out, like just before this, when he's like, I don't control anything with
Hmm.
like my mind, this is all heart.
Hmm.
And that unlocks in Peter like, okay, this is how I have to fight him, is to just feel it. You
Yeah.
use like everything I've learned so far, like, everything my friends have ever taught me, use that to fight back.
Yeah.
And yeah, he goes like super powered which is weird for Star Lord.
Yeah.
We don't
Only
see
every time
that.
we'll get to see it.
Yeah. And like
But
you
yeah,
see, like grows like rock hands and like makes a giant Pac-Man that bites him and messes about and things like that.
he has fun with it, but
He smashes
also
his
while
Walkman at some point though in this fight, doesn't he?
yeah,
Ego. What a
he gets
bastard.
and that really upsets him.
That was a present.
From his mother.
Exactly.
Yeah, that really upsets him, and he has this like kind of flashbacky scenes that do include his mother,
Mhm.
um,
Oh
and
yeah,
him
that
as a
part's
young
really
boy.
good.
Yeah,
So that's why some people were like, "Oh, he's linked to eternity because he's seeing all of the time at the
no,
same time." But I think it's metaphorical
I
again.
think it's metaphorical.
Yeah.
um,
Um. So yeah,
yeah.
this is where we get like Yondu making his like bit of a like you said, the
Mhm.
sacrifice play, and then Rocket's like, "Welcome to the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy," and it's like, oh man.
Only you didn't say frickin'. I
Yeah, yeah,
wish there's what do you know what? I've never ever questioned Rocket's dialogue apart
Mhm.
from that bit right there. It
Yeah.
should have just been welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, okay. Just leave it at
That's
that.
it.
It's good
Yeah.
enough. And this is where like I think Ego makes one last chance to like sway Peter, where he's like, if you kill me, you'll be just like everyone else. And he's like, well, what's so wrong with that? Like type of thing. And it's like, hell yeah, Peter, you don't need to be a
No.
god because gods have no friends.
No. And then he blows up.
You do, you do blow up. But
Yeah.
Yondu makes the the jetpack save.
Yeah. Catches Quill and takes him up and then fastens the jetpack to him along with his mask. And it takes Quill a little bit of time to realize
Yeah.
that Yondu does not have one on.
And when he catches him, he does say, like, this is where he says the line where he's like, he may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy. And then, like, flies him
He
up.
don't. He
I'm
don't.
getting chills, man.
Oh man, that moment. I'm gonna try and keep it together. This breaks me because you see Yondu go on such a journey
Yeah.
in this movie. I mean, we get we get to know who Yondu is in the first one to a
Yes.
degree, but you do not get to see the heart and soul that is in Yondu until you get into this movie, and
You're
they
right.
pace
Like,
it beautifully.
the hints are all there, but they actually, you couldn't put it all together until you
No,
see this movie. But now watching back, like we were saying earlier, he does let him go all the time, and he doesn't
yeah.
try and kill him when he probably could, if that, but you
Oh,
kind of
eat
think
him.
he might in the first
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. You don't
Yeah.
know. Even at the end when he has the moment where he realizes the stone's not there, and you're like,
Mhm.
he smiles. You kind of like, oh, there's something more to this relationship than meets the eye.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you get it, and it's so paced out beautifully from start to finish with Yondu's story to where this moment right here hits you in the feels so badly.
Why does Peter have to keep seeing his loved ones die right in front of him? Like right in front of his
Watched his
face,
mum,
literally.
watched his dad,
Yep.
his daddy. But yeah, when Peter realizes that Yondu is literally sacrificing himself for him,
Yeah.
and I mentioned this to Jake beforehand, Chris Pratt has such a brilliant way of giving you the best guttural,
Yeah.
painful scream you have ever heard. He does it in this, he does it in volume three. In volume three, I am
Mhm.
in
It's even
bits.
worse, yeah.
It's even worse. It's terrible. But
Is
he
he
has
the
such a
only I was gonna say,
mm,
is he the only Avenger who's not afraid to ugly cry on camera?
yeah,
It might be.
yeah. He really yeah. I fully think that is right because
Yeah.
that moment where he starts screaming and it's just the word no
Yeah.
over and over again.
And like
Um,
Yondu kind of goes like slack faced and starts like
yeah,
freezing up and stuff, and it's like, oh, I
and
want him to
then
live, man.
and I love this cut. I love this edit where we literally go from that there, and we are in such. It's kind of gone really peaceful, and
It's
it's
super close up shots as well, though. You can't
aha.
really tell what it is at first.
Yeah, and it's
It's
just
like
it's
flowers and
and then you see Yondu's procession, his
mhm.
where he's gonna his funeral's gonna take place and these
and the
ribbons
and they're
and they're
putting all of
trying
all the trinkets around him, like
yeah
all of his dashboard trinkets.
and they're trying to make it as Ravager is because a
Yes.
point that Stakar makes to him earlier on is that you'll never have the colours of what do you call it
Hmm.
played at your funeral.
Yeah, like it's a
Um
Viking thing. Like you'll never have
yeah,
like the warriors send
yeah,
off type of thing.
basically, and they try their best to do what they can, knowing that he is, he's been exiled from the Ravengers,
Hmm.
um, and while while they're having this funeral, the song "Father and Son" is played over the top of it
They're trying to
just to
kill
make
you.
it worse.
Yeah, they're trying to kill us with emotion here.
Oh my
Um,
God! But the most beautiful thing happens is that Rocket actually sent a message to the Ravagers to let them know what he did, why he did it, that he didn't break the Ravager code
mhm.
at all. If anything, he kind of tried to protect it, and he's been trying to protect Quill, and they attend his funeral, and this is where you get to see the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, hell yeah. And all the ships shoot like fireworks off and it looks awesome. And this is where I think like someone says it out loud, oh, he didn't like ruin all like push everyone away. Like he didn't
Michael
ruin.
Rosenbaum.
Yeah, and then that's like when like Rocket hears that and he's like, oh, this is like a direct analogy to me. Like if I keep going the way I was going, I'll end up at the lonely funeral, with nobody around
Yeah.
me. And he's like, but this is my chance to like turn it around.
Yeah, it's such a learning moment for Rocket because you don't see that side of him anymore after
No.
this. Um, and then Gamora and him and Quill have a moment where the unspoken thing that they have, maybe they should explore it.
Yeah, which I'm glad we don't really see
I
that, but
I loved it when he's trying to explain it in a sitcom way, and she's like, "I don't
yeah,
know what she is."
yeah, yeah. We skipped over the little fight before the ship nearly lands on her. And yeah, so this is where Quill gets his Zune MP3 player that we learn that Yondu bought for him somewhere, like in the
Mhm.
galaxy at some point, because he's such a good dad.
Yeah,
Um, and he passes on the arrow to Kraglin,
yeah,
kind of completing the full circle there
yeah.
of
He's like, "I think you would have liked you to have it," and I totally
yeah.
agree with that. I think Kraglin is the
He
rightful
gets it
owner of it.
eventually. It takes a while.
Well, the movie kind of ends there,
Yeah, Nebula
but
goes too as well. Like
oh
Nebula,
yes,
they
that's
hug it
right.
out. They have a hug though. They have the sister
They
hug.
do. They have a hug. Gamora finally gets to tell her side. There's a mutual understanding, but she's still going on because it's
To
the way she
kill
goes, I'm going to go and kill
Thanos.
Thanos. She's like, I'm going to go and kill Thanos. And she's like, I
Yeah,
don't think you can do that.
and
And
she's
it's
like,
like, I'm going to give it a good try.
yeah, you can do
Yeah.
that. It turns out a
Mhm.
couple of different ways, at least three different ways, maybe. Can't remember. Um, and yeah. So Stallone again comes on camera for a bit, and he's awesome. Like it's quick little things, but he can show such emotion in his face. Like
Yeah.
I'm almost thinking sometimes he was wasted in those action flicks that we had to watch him in.
He's just, for all his screen time is very short. He
he
leaves a lasting impression.
he did
Um,
he did this time, but in the first time watching this in the cinema, I don't think I rated it at all. It just kind of
Take
went.
Stallone. Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe it was like the stunt casting was a bit too distracting in the
Mm-hmm.
moment, sort of thing. But no, I proper appreciated it this time.
Yeah.
And,
So,
yeah, so Rocket's learned his lesson not to push his friends away, otherwise,
yeah.
goes
So
bad.
this is the movie that has four end credit scenes.
Yeah, it just wouldn't stop, would it?
So we were talking about this the other day, me and Anthony. We think this is when the comments came out from Zack Snyder about end credit scenes, and James Gunn went,
Right.
"Well, if you don't like end credit scenes, I'm just going to shove four of them in here."
Yeah, because he's trying
We
like because
think that's
Snyder's
around this time that he
trying to be
kind of,
above it.
yeah, and James Gunn's like, "You don't like them? Well, here's four in my movie."
Yeah.
So the first,
We needed it a little bit though, I think.
well, the first one is Kraglin, yeah,
I
with
think
the
so when
arrow.
he's yeah. Yeah, and he just stabs it into Drax's neck and he's like, ah, it's so funny. He was just
Yes,
asleep. Yeah, it turns out that whistle arrow is a little harder to control than everyone thought. And yeah, I think Stakar is one of the first juicy scenes. That's not just a silly joke.
yeah. So the original Guardians
Mm-hmm.
are all together in one of the scenes. It is Charlie 27, Stakar, Martin X,
Mm-hmm.
and Alete,
Is that Michelle
Aleta.
Yeoh?
I think Michelle Yeoh is Martin X.
Yeah, okay.
Michelle Yeoh. I would love her to just do something, even like anything. And more, I love her
Well, she's
so
got.
much.
Doesn't she have multiple Marvel characters all under her belt?
Does she?
Am I blank? Am I making it up? Is she not the lady who runs the hand in like Daredevil, or is that like a different
Does she?
similar?
Hang on,
Possibly.
I've got Google
It's
here.
it's worth looking up. But yeah, she's awesome. She's very good at playing silly evil space characters, as we learn.
She's in Shang-Chi, God's sake.
Yes, I thought she was. I thought she
Why
had
did I
multiple.
forget that? Yeah, wow, okay, yeah, she's oh no, Elete. Elete Orgon is who she plays in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
I
Okay.
was totally wrong with that name. If it's the head that I'm thinking of, I don't know. I honestly don't know. But the
Mhm.
head, where he's like, I'm so happy to be back with you guys. That's Miley Cyrus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, she's in Shang-Chi.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
thought
okay.
so. But yeah, she's fun. She's always good to play like an evil, like, plotting bad guy and stuff like that. Um, and didn't she win like an Oscar, wasn't it, for like everything everywhere at
Everything,
once or whatever?
everything, everywhere, all about. It's so good. It's
She's on a rise, so they probably won't be able to get her back for some Marvel movies at this point.
I
That's the
love
hand
that
over the
film.
cash.
Martin X is Michael Rosenbaum's character as the
Right.
gold-headed one.
That's a fun name.
Charlie 27, I'm sure that's Ving Rhames.
Uh-huh.
Um, sorry, I should have done all this beforehand.
No, you're all right.
Um, Charlie 27. Might as well just type it in at this point because my thingy's not working. Charlie 27 is Ving Rhames, yeah. Now, God, if you can cast your mind to the original lineup, he is the one in the yellow suit with the helmet
Yeah.
on. Yeah, that's him. Um,
I
yeah.
do
So,
like I do like the reimagined versions of them though.
so
It's fun to look at.
who's the one with the almost Doctor Strange magic?
I don't know. Yeah, he's like an alien who does some of the multiverse magic we heard about.
As we learned from last
Yeah,
week,
yeah, yeah.
no, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but yeah, I think there's actually five after credit sequences
Oh, okay.
if you count the Kraglin thing, because
Yeah,
next run to the Adam Warlock tease as well.
I got tutted at the cinema because of this. So I'm
Yeah,
sitting.
tell the story you've told me before, but yeah, tell
So
it.
when we're sitting watching it, obviously people are getting up and moving, and I am like,
Yes.
I'm not going anywhere until this until they literally turn the lights on.
Yeah.
And we're sitting watching, and obviously she comes up, and I can just feel it, and
Yeah.
I know something's about to happen. And she says, "I've created the ultimate being, the most perfect one out of the lot." And as she was just about to say it, I went, "Fuck off! It's Adam Warlock." And then she went, Adam. Just as I
Yeah.
said it, then she said, Adam. The woman behind us went, "Ugh." And I was like, oh my God, like you knew.
Yeah. You didn't spoil anything. Uh
Exactly. Yeah, I got tutted at because I
can you
said
imagine
Adam.
we've never called out the people who leave the cinema. I've done it on occasion when I wasn't too into the movie and I've looked it up online afterwards, but if you're enjoying that Marvel movie, you sit there because if we hadn't sat there for Thunderbolts, we wouldn't have seen Fantastic Four ship show up in the time skip. And I'm like,
And
if
you,
anyone missed that, like that's
mhm.
insane.
And if you want a really fun game to do while you are waiting, thank everyone that you can kind of point out from the thing. Because I used to sit there and like thank people, just pick a name and just go, thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. It really annoyed everyone around you. So
You
be
never know, you
prepared.
might be sat in the cinema with like the best boy or something because there's sometimes the film in England sometimes, so you never know.
Exactly.
Um,
But always try
yeah,
and thank the people in the credits.
gotcha.
And then
Thank the artists.
so yeah, Aisha confirms that what Adam, well, she just says Adam, but we
Yeah,
all know it's Adam Warlock. A new artificial being who's
yeah.
going to come and take over and kill the Guardians. We know that's not true,
He
though.
can't. He almost kills one of them, but we'll get there.
We'll get
Um,
there. And when
and
we do, be prepared for me to not be okay.
and then we get some Groot's grown up to be a smelly teenager, and he's like, I'm tripping over your vines all over the house, and he won't stop playing his video game. And
I am Groot.
he's apparently got bad language that we can't hear.
You got some mouth on you, boy.
And like Peter's having to be like the dad figure that he
And he's
never
like,
had.
now I know what Yondu went through.
Well, I don't know because we've seen a flashback in like Marvel, I mean, in the Christmas thing, and Peter seemed like a nice child. He was trying to give them Christmas presents, and then Yondu was like, "I hate Christmas," like and chucked them all out and stuff. So like, I don't know if Peter was the same as Groot, but anyway. And then we get a quick cut back at the end, back to Stan Lee being like, "Oh, gee, I've got so many more stories to tell. Come back, guys!" And like the
I,
Watchers just wander off.
I love your Stanley impression.
Isn't it quite easy to do a Stan Lee?
not to dampen the mood, but we are gonna have a very up close personal documentary on Stan Lee come out this year.
Yes,
I
is that still
don't,
on the docket for this year,
yeah,
like to come
it's this
out?
year. It's gonna be a hard one, people.
Yeah,
I feel like I do want to talk about it when it comes out, even
yeah.
though it's gonna be a really tough topic of conversation. It still needs to be had.
Yeah, I think so. It's probably going to coincide when we lose him on our watch along, probably because
Eventually,
we haven't got many more cameos left in us for the big
no.
man. But yeah, that would possibly be a good topic for like because we've been getting into some community podcasts and
Mm-hmm.
stuff recently.
Yes.
Be good to hear what different people think about that because a lot of fans have mixed feelings, I would say. Like, he was a harsh businessman back in the day. I think he'd mellowed out over his
He's,
later life and stuff like that, but
he's
complicated
been
guy.
he's been called a lot of names by a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people.
Yeah.
However, we have to thank him. My only issue that I've ever had with Stanley was the treatment of Jack Kirby. However,
Yeah.
he tried, he did, and it was a little bit too late. Um, but he did try to do some wrong, to right some wrongs in that case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but this documentary has nothing to do with the businessman and the man who has put this universe out there for us to all enjoy.
Yeah.
This is about the treatment that he had to endure towards the end of his life with
Yeah.
people who did not have his best interest at heart, who saw him as a cash cow. And thankfully, somebody who was a part of his team who didn't have a direct hand. There's not a lot he could have done to
Yeah.
say he tried, he really tried, but he documented it. The best thing he could have done was he documented it, so
Mm.
we can now see the awful awfulness that took place and know I don't know I don't know how it's going to come across to people, but just know what happened towards the end because there's a lot of miscommunication when it comes down to the end of Stanley's life.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think like we're gonna have to actually like see it because I'm sure the trailer they've created is quite sensational and
so
dramatic, but
yeah, you
you need to see it
absolutely.
all really
No,
to
I
try
think
and
you're
get a
absolutely right. I remember
yeah.
that time. I remember Kevin Smith tweeting,
Mhm.
um, asking his team, "I'll take him, bring him to my house. I will look after him." Like he tried. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people who tried. It's gonna be a tough one, but I feel like these kind of conversations can't be put or hidden away
Yeah.
anymore.
No, it's too like because they put him in like every movie they could,
Yeah.
it's now tied to the MCU forever.
It is, and I'm sad, and I'm sorry to bring it up. It just came to me head there that I don't think we've ever actually mentioned this documentary that is going to come out.
No, no, but I think the trailer only came out a month or two ago.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's gonna be a weird one.
It's going to be a
Um,
sucky one, absolutely.
Look
But we
after your elders, everyone, you
exactly,
bastards.
bastards,
Especially a national treasure style elders.
exactly.
Um,
But sorry to put a damper on what has been such a joy to
I
rewatch
mean,
and
yeah, the movie
relive.
ends with a funeral. They try and pick it up in the credits, but it's you're still sad about Yondu no matter
Yeah,
what.
but it's the journey that you go on
Yeah.
with Yondu, and it's sad that it ends there. But it's kind of like if we got any more, would it? Would it just would have I don't know would it would these moments have meant anything?
Well, I think the audience might have been a bit checked out by Guardians 3.
Yeah,
There wasn't a lot of hype when that came out, so
yeah,
I think I think it was the right choice to hit some big story beats in this one while
mm-hmm,
everyone was fully on board.
yeah.
Um, but James Gunn's good at using time effectively.
He's so good.
Like he doesn't waste time and leave things too late. He seems to have a good grasp on like storytelling and knows
Yeah,
when to like drop the thing instead of like drag it out for like three movies.
yeah. I like Anth was saying the other day. He was like, "Do you think this is the after Volume 3? Is that it for the Guardians?" I was like, "Absolutely not. No, that's just
No, I
the end
think
of James Gunn's
it
Guardians."
might be the end of like Star Lord possibly being a massive thing, but
No,
I think Rocket's New Guardians will be like a mainstay and stuff.
we won't ever get Dave Bautista back as Drax,
Sad.
because he is so loyal to James Gunn,
Yeah.
that he won't come back without him.
If they do something else, which it's not it's a never say never type of thing, but he is obviously working on DC stuff right now.
Is this around the time that the tweets came out about where they tried to ruin James Gunn?
There
Is
was
it
some
after or before Guardians 2?
I don't know, but yeah, there was a lot of weird stuff. Like do you think it's just because James Gunn's quite outspoken, so we
He
wouldn't
was. He's not so
yeah.
like now. He's kind of like a little bit reserved, but hey, the man is super duper because he's super duper busy.
Yeah, true.
But he was very out there. He was indie director doing like weird horror stuff, and it's a different time, a different person.
He does
And
seem cooler than most people that have hired at Marvel. Like his
yeah,
movies also seem
it's
slightly
just he
better.
gets it. The thing with James Gunn, he just gets it.
Yeah.
There's something about him. But when I watched this today, I was like, oh, you can so see. I love his version of Suicide Squad. I
Yeah, I like it.
absolutely adore what he did in that movie. How human he made Harley Quinn. For the first time on screen, we've managed to have Margot Robbie play Harley Quinn as
Mhm.
she should be, not how everyone thinks that she is.
Not like a sex
Um,
doll.
she was so good. His casting was brilliant. What he's done for John Cena is like, who would
Nothing
have
short of a
ever
nothing short of a miracle, yeah.
exactly. Who would have thought we would have seen John Cena? I think we would have imagined him being in a superhero movie, but to be peacekeeper, to be
Yeah.
foul mouth, to be, not the
Yeah.
corporate guy that we know him for.
John
Like
Cena
James
who
Gunn brought that out of him.
John Cena from the Marine. Like that was his
Or
best movie credit.
as Anthony calls it, the Marine. He can't not say it like that. Yeah, I love this movie so much. I love
It's
the
a good
family
one.
element to it. But this is Guardians all over. I feel like I'm with family when I'm
Hmm.
with them,
Yeah.
which is why I think 3 broke my heart as much as it did.
Yeah, yeah, but Drax gives me life and in these movies, and he's even better in the third one if you can. It's a different better, but
Yeah,
it's like he stays awesome.
yeah,
Um, so yeah,
we did
hell
it.
yeah, Dave Batista, you rule.
You rule. But we did it. We were at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I don't even know what's next one. Oh, I
uh,
do.
I was gonna say we're whizzing around everywhere.
I do. I know. I can't. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the end of this movie, I don't know
Uh,
if you actually did watch all of the credits.
I thought I
Um,
did, but what are you about to drop?
but there's a song that's being played. It's kind of like a disco song, and you do get Hasselhoff at the end
Right, yeah, yeah.
talking. However, in the middle of it, there's like still shots of people that come to life and they're dancing.
Uh-huh.
One of them is Jeff Goldblum, who you
Right,
will
okay.
see in the next movie.
um, is he?
It's Ragnarok.
I thought Homecoming was next. Have we got the dates
Oh,
mixed up?
no, it's just that I've got it from the Marvel MCU
Yes,
watch
okay.
along. This is kind of like Sony's timeline, not the MCU, not
God
Disney's
damn it, Sony.
MCU timeline. Oh
I
my
will
God, so it's Spider-Man next.
I will check the dates, but that I did not know there was a Jeff Goldblum cameo in this movie, so that
Yes.
is a fun fact.
He's dancing at the end, and then also there is right at the end of the movie there is something that comes up saying "I am Groot," and it flips over quickly and says no animals or trees were hurt in the production of this movie, but it
Yes,
says "I am Groot" originally.
because Groot did attack a lot of critters for some reason.
Yes, he did. um, okay, if it is Homecoming, then fine. I just
We'll
got
check
really
the dates.
excited.
I don't know how close together they came out, but they are both 2017 apparently. It would be funny if we got those mixed up, but
No, we stick with your Excel spreadsheet. That's
we'll
fine.
try. But yes,
Oh, I thought we
Spider-Man's
were doing
coming.
I thought we were doing Ragnarok next.
Nope, you've got to watch Spider-Man first. Your
That's
favorite
fine.
guy.
It's I'm just no, I try. I really do try with Spider-Man. It's just he's not my superhero, and
It's
I
going to be
get
very
that. He wasn't
different to
created
this
for
as well.
me.
Yeah, he was created for teen boys.
Exactly. And I'm totally cool with that. Like I don't find that inferior. Like there's a lot of
Yeah,
women who probably or girls who do, gravitate towards him. I just never did. I understand where his place is and who
yeah,
he was meant for.
yeah. But I don't particularly like Homecoming, so let's see if I change my mind on this watch along. I'd much rather watch Thor Ragnarok.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, this has got Michael Keaton in it, yeah?
yeah.
Oh, bonus. Okay, I'm happy.
You guys mentioned this movie on the podcast just 2 days ago or whenever
Did
you
we?
recorded it.
Did we?
Yeah, Paul was mentioning how on set Michael Keaton was screwing around because he was back in a
I
superhero
remember.
movie.
I remember now. Yeah,
Yep.
we recorded that on Saturday and it went up on Sunday and it is
Okay.
available for you
And
to
I watched it on
watch.
Monday, so there's
Yay!
anything can happen. But yeah, we'll be back with Spider-Man: Homecoming or Thor Ragnarok. We'll check the dates. It's fine as long as we do them
Let's
eventually.
just
It
let's just
still
do
counts.
Homecoming. Let's just get it out of the way with. Let's
They're
just
not they're not connected to each other in any way, so
no.
it literally
No,
would not matter.
your Excel spreadsheet is perfect and we
The
are
sacred
on track.
timeline.
Do not disturb the sacred timeline. We are on track. Let's just leave it. It's homecoming. Next week is home. Next oh gosh, not next week. The week after is
Yeah,
homecoming.
don't make me prune the timeline and delete the Sammy that thought it was Thor Ragnarok and get the
It's
real
just
one back.
because because I watch it through the Disney app.
Uh-huh.
So I actually go through the timeline and
Oh
the
God,
next movie after that was Ragnarok. So I was like, oh,
have they took the Spider-Man off
I
Disney
think so.
Plus? Oh, holy shit! We're gonna have to go
They
and
might be
torrent
on
Spider-Man.
Netflix.
Actually,
They
no,
were
I'll go on a heist to Paul's house and steal his steelbook.
and then just drop it off at mine. And then
um,
I'll eventually get it back to him.
but thank you so much for anyone who's
Yes,
joined in and
thank you.
listened to us, either on YouTube or on Spotify. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
We are Jake and Sammy from Nerdy Up North. We do a lot for this channel. There is other podcasts. There is a multitude of things going on. Like I was saying, you guys had a good long conversation with Taffeta Dawn about Batman on
Hmm.
Sunday. Sammy has a monsters podcast, as you can tell by a beautiful background, where she talks about all of that fun stuff. On Mondays, Monster Monday, of course, we got Top Grumps, we got Anime Club, we got me talking about wrestling on the Rumble cast. We sent Valentine's
Such
Day
a
Massacre recently.
brilliant episode. My heart was full. I was so happy that somebody actually did my favorite event. Thank
Yep.
you.
It's burned onto my hard drive forever now. We have the Women of
Yay!
Nerd Culture who were talking Star Wars recently with Phoebes from
Yes.
Anime Club. We're doing crossovers, we're doing collabs, all that fun stuff. And yeah, we're almost at the daily uploads type of thing, which is good for people who have full-time jobs. We're grafting out there.
We are. Come and join us in the Nerdy Up North Discord. You will meet some of your best friends in there. I promise you. It is a laugh. We have watch-alongs. We had a watch-along on Saturday. We were all in there together. It's fun. Come and join us. It's a laugh. I promise.
We fight like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but then we're still friends afterwards, right?
Absolutely. Because that's what
You
families
trash
do.
panda.
You trash. Is that any better than raccoon?
No, it's much worse. But yeah, so next time, Spider-Man
Yeah.
Homecoming, because I like the weird titles. Let's fucking go, I guess.
Fucking Spider-Man, yay!
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.